Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When the North American Free Trade Agreement was negotiated, the explicit stated goal was the integration of Mexico, a developing economy, with the highly developed, high-wage economies of the United States and Canada. Throughout the agreement, they characterized it as wage convergence. For each of you, has that objective been met? Professor Sadka?
No, clearly.
Mrs. Naros?
No, wages have been actively suppressed.
Professor?
Rights, wages are significantly lower than when NAFTA was passed.
Ms. Feingold?
Wages have been suppressed.
The minimum wage in Mexico today is $5.10 a day, up from $5.70 a day in the year previous. That's about 64 cents an hour. Unionization among working population in Mexico has decreased from 22.4% pre-NAFTA to 11% today. The GDP growth in Mexico has been about 1%, and the poverty rates today are higher than they were pre-NAFTA. You're familiar with the maquiladora factories. There's about 1 million workers working in about 3,000 of them. The conditions have been characterized, even by objective observers, as deplorable, inhumane. United States manufacturing jobs prior to NAFTA were 17 million. Today it's 12 million. That's 5 million jobs that were lost. And 53,000 American manufacturing businesses have closed. The first U.S. trade agreement was with Israel in 1985. The second was with Canada in 1988. The Canadian trade agreement between the United States and Canada made a lot of sense. You know, Canada is an economy of almost $2 trillion. It's a mixed economy. There is a profound respect for worker rights, for the environment, for human rights. The U.S. economy is a $21 trillion economy, 70% consumption, richest economy in the world. Of course, everybody wants to trade with the United States. How can we expect, and the other thing we did, we betrayed our own workers. There was language in the North American Free Trade Agreement that talked about trade adjustment assistance. You know what that said to the manufacturing worker where I live in Buffalo? You're going to lose your job, and we're going to give you a little money to appease you, but it's not real money. It's not real worker training. And I want a commitment on the part of this administration to do a robust trade adjustment assistance, because I know what is going to occur. There is going to be continued job losses. The economy has changed profoundly in the last 2.5 decades. But you know, when you're a large economy like the United States, there's going to be a loss of workers. When you're looking at trying to prop up a Mexican economy that's developing, its leaders won't even help themselves. They're corrupt. These people don't have access to unions. They don't have access to representation. They get exploited along the northern border of Mexico and the southern border of the United States. The environment has been destroyed. These people make nothing. The cost of living is 30% higher in that area as well. So I think this administration has a long way to go before, based on fact and nothing more, not politics, not anything, based on fact relative to wages, relative to worker rights, relative to the environment, to convince us that a new NAFTA is in the best interest of all of us. Ms. Feingold.
Thank you very much. I think that's an important analysis. So a few comments. One is around the maquiladora, or the export processing zone. That was a very intentional model, and it's a model that has been expanded around the world. It's a model that results in tax incentives, so companies move there. Our own corporations here made some very clear choices about moving out of Buffalo and moving to places where they knew that there would be no free unionization there, that wages would be suppressed, that there would be no worker organizing. Those were intentional decisions. And so again, corporations corporations can and should be held accountable for those decisions. But it's an economic model that continues to expand. On TAA, we agree with you. TAA has not served the interests of working people in the way it should. I think that we need to look at trade policy as just one piece of the full policy landscape that working people need. They need labor law reform. They need health care. So I think all of that, the analysis is very important. Thank you.